All righty, welcome back for another episode of Two Plane Sports. Today, we've got a short and sweet one for you today. Obviously, we're kind of in the little bit of the dead period. Late February now at this point. National Signing Day is done. Transfer portal is kind of fizzling out, but there's a big transfer portal target that Oklahoma's targeting in on. So we want to talk about Keon Sab for this video. But before we get into it, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below. And we're on our way to 6,300 subscribers. So hit the subscribe button. It's free and easy. And also, we've been pretty dormant on the TikTok game, but Brandon is going to get that fired up, and we're going to be putting out some more content on there. So you might go find us on the Tickety Talks over there. So, all right, let's get into it. So Keon Sab on Friday of last week announced that he was entering the transfer portal. The Michigan Wolverine safety spent 2 years at Michigan, was a redshirted his freshman year, and then played last year and played a decent amount as a redshirt freshman. Started in a handful of games. He appeared in 14. His stats might not jump off the page. I mean, he only started 5 times, but as a redshirt freshman starting in the secondary at a school that just won the national championship is pretty good. I don't know about what you guys think, but I think that's pretty solid. 6'1", 208 pounds. Do what?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah, 6'1", 208 pounds, athletic player. And, a little bit of a backstory why Oklahoma might be a player here and seems to be a player here is Sab was once committed to Clemson when Brent Venables was still the defensive coordinator before taking the Oklahoma job. He was committed to him for 4, 5, 6 months, something like that. And then within 2 weeks of Brent Venables announcing he was going to Oklahoma right before the National Signing Day, he flipped his commitment and signed with Michigan ultimately. So there is history here. There's a reason why Oklahoma is in the running here. Brandon, what do you think?
So I did some digging on Keon Sab while you were doing your intro, and just to kind of see where his snap count and stuff like that. He played 360 snaps last season at Michigan, which that is a decent amount. But the fun one is he played 61 snaps against Washington in that title game. He had 6 tackles, so I think he played a good majority of the defensive snaps in that title game. So he's going to bring a lot of that experience. We were joking around talking about how he seems to be a loyal guy. He decommitted from Clemson once BV left, and now he's decommitted from Michigan now that Coach Harbaugh's gone. So hopefully, we can use that Brent Venables connection that was once there and kind of bring him back. He had two picks last year, 4 pass deflections, 28 tackles, good size. He would definitely fit in the mold here. Definitely add some athleticism to this group on defense.
It would be a very nice addition for the defense, especially on the back end. I think a big criticism of the team last year is how many yards they gave up, especially in the pass game. My counter to that is always just look at how many times they were able to create momentum and turnovers. They led the nation, I believe, in turnover margin. A lot of those being picks. So the big thing to me is where he fits in this room. I think when we were talking about it earlier, Brum said that it seems like he's going to fit in at the cheetah spot, assuming Justin Harrington does not get his eligibility extended. That is a spot that is available for someone, and I think Dasan McCullough proved that he's a very talented outside linebacker last year and pass rusher. But he can struggle in the pass game sometimes, which he can improve. I'm sure that's something that they're working on. They're definitely working on that with him. So he's still going to be the guy to beat at that spot. But when you look at how they were using Justin Harrington last year before he got hurt, it seemed like as we expected, he would be the guy that would play cheetah when it was a more pass-heavy team or someone that just had a quarterback that with a good arm, versus Dasan was going to be the guy that was going to help stuff the run, keep quarterbacks within the pocket so they would have to beat us with their arm.
They would. And in the transfer portal, Keon Sab immediately becomes probably the best player and most sought-after player available. And what's interesting is Oklahoma extended offers to his younger brothers in the 26 and 2027 classes to play football at Oklahoma on the exact same day that he entered in the transfer portal. And we were just talking about that 2027 is crazy to even think about that offers are going out because
how old are they? 13, 12?
a freshman. So February of their freshman year. So I'm trying to think back. How old was I in that? What, just turned 15 not too long ago? Yeah, you're basically
Yeah, that sounds right.
about 15 years old, probably, unless you're
Get your
really
learner's
young.
permit your freshman year. Get your driver's license your sophomore. Sounds right.
Yeah, that's crazy to really think about. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm sure they're talented in their own right. I mean, they have offers from other Power 5 schools and everything else, and it just so happened that it was, kind of came together. But Michigan's kind of scrambling here. I mean, at the end of the day, they haven't been able to figure out who their defensive back coach is going to be. They've got their and I'm really kind of surprised at how long it's been taking Michigan to fill everything in here for them in the defensive back room. Obviously, Sharon Moore just came in and he was the obvious heir apparent, but it's kind of crazy that it's taken as long as it has. From at least when we're recording this, I don't believe that they've officially announced their defensive coordinator, but it seems like a guy by the name of Lamar Morgan from Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, is their targeted defensive coordinator. And then his first job is going to be try to convince Keon Sab not to leave. And I feel like you've taken this long because how long has it been since Jim Harbaugh's left? I want to say it's
Probably a
been
month at this point, if not longer.
yeah. It was before the Super Bowl. I mean, it was right after. I mean, maybe a week after the national championship game. Yeah, it's about a month or so. So it's kind of hard for me to believe it's taken him this long. And I think that's probably where Keon Sab got a little like, well, I've got a 30-day window to enter the portal, like the free pass. I need to go and at least see what happens. And so ultimately, he might stay at Michigan. But I have a hard time believing that it's taken him this long. He's kind of already checked out at this point, I would think. And Justin Harrington, I don't know even if he gets the eligibility, even if he comes back to Oklahoma. I think if Keon Sab commits to Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma might say, oh, we just don't have a spot for you. And that's the hard part about the NIL era, because when you get paid, money talks at the end of the day, right?
It would really suck for Justin Harrington. That's a guy, it's like impossible not to feel for. His story is kind of crazy. Once off the team, came back to the team. Seemed to be really on to something last year. It was really early on, obviously. He got hurt in the SMU game, which is the third game of the season, second game of the season. But, he started off the season strong and just sucks. Sucks for him, man. I don't know. But with Keon Hab, he hasn't had – I haven't seen anything about him visiting. Have you guys? Is that something? Has that happened yet, or is it going to happen?
I haven't
don't
seen
believe
anything.
So.
I think the interesting part is, and it sucks for all these schools and interim coaches, or like their new coaches, because they have to backfill their roster when everything's already done. And I think, like you said, with Keon, it's not like he entered the portal as soon as Harbaugh left. It's been that 30-day window is expiring, so if he didn't use it, he was gonna be stuck in Michigan, and not like he hasn't been successful there, because he has, but I think a lot of those players probably were thinking, well, things are taking too long to look solid here. Like, I gotta make a decision on what's best for me, and it sucks for those coaches, because that's definitely worse than losing your coach right after the last game of the season or right before your bowl game, because then your school has no way of backfilling those roles. I mean, Harbaugh ended up taking the defensive coordinator, took the strength coach, so it's a lot to do with very few options that are truly available.
Yeah, and I take that back. They've actually Lamar Morgan was like targeted. They're locking in on hiring him, so he's their defensive coordinator. It's just the official stuff. All the word phrasing that they do with that stuff. But if Oklahoma can go after Keon Sab, it's for the cheetah position, like you said earlier. And he would immediately come in and upgrade the defensive, the defense as a whole, and add more competitive depth. And he would probably start, to be honest.
He definitely for a starting spot. Yeah, I mean,
and he fits the Brent Venables scheme because he offered and had him committed for the longest time at Clemson.
And even if he didn't, he'd be a really good person in the 2 deep. Not just because he's of his talented ability on the football field, but being on a team that just won the national championship. I think that could carry a lot with, especially some of these older guys like Danny, Billy, Desan. Like, he can help them just kind of see, all right, this is how I can get to the mountaintop. Even though it's a new season in the SEC, like, at the end of the day, these guys still have to play the football games. You can beat anyone.
True. So we'll see what happens. But this was a short and sweet one. Brandon, do you have any final thoughts or in the video?
So in the video, we'll just do, I guess it's an exciting time for OU sports. Football is over, which sucks, but you got the basketball team trying to make a tournament push here. I think they're a tournament team right now. We'll see how the season, finishes up. Tough loss to Kansas recently, but softball's doing softball things, and the baseball team went out there. They had themselves a pretty good week here. They dropped their opener to Oregon, but then, beat number 9 Tennessee, beat Nebraska in walk-off fashion yesterday. So there's just a lot of fun around Oklahoma sports right now. I guess just give your thoughts on either the baseball or softball team. Because I guess softball is going to do softball things, but it is fun to see the baseball team kind of start off hot. It's cool to beat a number 9 team pretty early and then go beat Nebraska today.
Skip Johnson is turning Oklahoma's baseball program into one of the better ones, and going in the SEC, it's only going to get that much better because the SEC baseball league is the best. And Vanderbilt's not the laughing stock in baseball. So Vandy's a powerhouse in Florida, and Oklahoma is in the recent past few years has been able to really compete and hang with them. Obviously lost to Ole Miss in the national championship game, but
it'd be cool to see those boys get back to Omaha.
Yeah, for sure. So made it this far. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. We'll follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below, and we'll catch you guys next time.